Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good afternoon to everyone, to our participants that have joined us physically and those that have joined us virtually. They deliberately put tourism at the end of the program because tourism is when you start visiting and you start interacting and you start relaxing and you start enjoying yourself. So you had all these tough topics of discussion beforehand, and now it's the more important discussion which allows you to enjoy the sights and sounds of the places that we can visit. Halal tourism is a burgeoning industry that has attracted strategic and global players to try and harness the visitors from the Muslim tourist community. The large number of the population allows the movement of people who want to gain an in-depth understanding of different cultures and undertake different experiences, taste good foods. Of course, we are in Penang, which is well known for its food, and also to learn new cultures. So joining us to unpack this particular topic of discussion, we have an eminent panel of experts who are, and as we were talking about it a few seconds ago, they come from different parts of the world. So they share with us a wide expertise in a wide variety through different markets. So allow me to quickly introduce the panel. On my left, Dr. Muhammad Rasib Haji Hassan, who is the Director General of Islamic Tourism in the Islamic Tourism Center of Malaysia, who gives us a perspective from a developmental agenda on how Malaysia has positioned itself as the #1 halal tourism destination in the MasterCard Crescent Rating Survey of 2022. And then on my right, His Excellency Rashada Jiwali, Consul General of Thailand in Penang, who would share with us the perspective of how Thailand has positioned itself into the Muslim tourist market and has gained a threshold in it. And then, of course, on the extreme right is Mohammed Escudero, a dear old friend who we shared some time together in Cordoba. He showed me around some of the sights and sounds of Cordoba. He's the Director General, International Development and Certification at Instituto Halal in Spain. Gentlemen, we've had 2 years of lockdown. It's impacted tourism. It's decimated certain businesses. You know, as I came into Penang, I saw the famous ship, the seafood restaurant at Batu Ferringhi, which many people have visited, is now closed. And it's not only big businesses have been affected, but small businesses as well. Cross-border travel has been restricted. Wherever we want to travel today, we have to show vaccine certificates, we have to open up apps that show that we are registered. There's PCR tests, there's the cost of PCR tests, the insurance. This is all affecting the tourism industry. How do you cope in this new normal as we are opening up again? Because as we see that people have this pent-up frustration. We haven't traveled for 2 years, and all of a sudden we now want to travel again. By nature, we are people that like to explore. So, Dato, let me ask you, in your presentation, if you can unpack for us how both the Center for Islamic Tourism in Malaysia and the strategy that you're employing in getting back to the new normal.
Thank you, Mr. Ebrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon, I think, late afternoon. Before I respond to your questions, probably I just want to share some slides that I prepared. I may not want to show all the slides because it will remain here and will be given to the participants. Not many people realize, even in Malaysia, about the existence of Islamic Tourism Center for the last 13 years we've been in operation. And our mission is very clear that we want to position Malaysia as the hub for the Muslim travel market. And today we heard a lot of terminology used, halal tourism, mostly friendly tourism, and a couple more. And in the context of ITC, we strongly believe that it should be known as Islamic tourism as ecosystem to align with other sectors like Islamic banking, Islamic finance, Islamic insurance. Because Islamic tourism covers many aspects, economy, education, and halal industry itself, and the culture, arts, civilization. So it's the big spectrum taking place in this ecosystem. And ITC is not the promotion body as what you can learn from the tourism board, but we are more towards capacity building, training, and now because of the COVID-19, and we do realize about the importance of assurance. People want to be assured with the quality, and then that is why you can see hotel has started to introduce their safe stay in the hotel. So this is one of the reason now even we get into certification and recognition program. And other than that, we want to be the, because ITC is the only agency in the world of its kind now, producing data and also information for the benefit, not only for Malaysia, but also for the entire network around the world, because we work closely with OIC, with ASEAN, and also all other organizations that we can recognize right now. So that's basically what we do. And of course, in today's session, many of the speakers talking about branding, talking about the importance of marketing. And we do realize also about this. And for information, we have introduced one program, we call it Muslim-Friendly Accommodation Recognition. So this is what you can see on the screen. And right now we have recognized 53 hotels in Malaysia. And as you know, that Muslim tourists are not that different from other tourists. No, they want to eat, they want to enjoy themselves, they want to bring their family along for holiday. And what they ask only a couple more, to have a halal food, and then to have safety and security for the family when they travel, and also they want to have clear signage of Qiblat, when they want to perform their prayer. So this is some additional values or some additional requirements asked by the Muslim tourists. So whenever they go, not only in Malaysia, they want to go to Thailand, to Spain, to South Africa, and other parts of the world. These are some of the main criteria where Muslim travel us. So to respond to your question, Mr. Ebrahim, what we do now is we are more focusing on these criteria that we have mentioned. Then only you can come up with different models of business to deliver that kind of requirement. So basically that.
Thank you. Excellency, Consul General of Thailand. Thailand was recognized as one of the top 4, or placed in the top 4 non-OIC countries for Muslim tourism. You obviously, as Thailand, are doing something right to attract and be in that focus. More so, here in Penang, as I came from the airport, the taxi driver took me past the Thailand Consul General and pointed out to me that this is the Thailand Consul General. He didn't know I was speaking with you this afternoon. And then he offered to take me to Thailand as part of my trip. So there's a lot that you are doing in marketing. How does Thailand attract the Muslim tourists? Because you've got a phenomenal offering in terms of the tourist attraction that you have. How have you adapted it to the Muslim tourist?
Thank you very much. I think first of all, I would like to say that for Thailand, halal tourism is quite new for us. I think we experienced less than 10 years on this particular, and Thailand, we start from halal food, and then I think from halal food it's going, diversify into halal education, and education for Muslim, and to the medical, and also the tourism is part of it. Basically, we have a lot to learn from, especially from neighboring countries like Malaysia. What we try to do now actually is just try to make the Muslim people come to Thailand to enjoy and can have a comfortable life. That's probably the first step that we aim for at this moment. As I mentioned, we have a lot to learn about halal tourism, but we would try the best at this point to make Muslim tourists to go to Thailand get the most comfortable as they can. That I think the target that we have at this moment. And before we go to further, I have a short video to show that what we try to do, and I think we can. The answer of the question probably in the video that also. Yes, thank you.
Thailand is one of the destinations that I have always wanted to visit once in my life to experience its rich culture and uniqueness. Bangkok is the capital of Thailand, famous for its temples, palaces, and food. Wow, eating is my expertise. Whatever people say is good, I definitely have to try it for myself.
One-day trip! Woo! On a lovely morning like this, I feel very energetic to come out and shoot some beautiful pictures to start off the trip. Let's begin at our first stop, the Temple of the Reclining Buddha, an important landmark in Thai architecture of Bangkok. Let's see how wonderful this place is. Follow me inside. The Temple of the Reclining Buddha has now reopened for visitors. They're also collecting knowledge of Thai traditional medicine and Thai massage. It has been painted as mural painting on walls and stones inscriptions so that they are remained in Thailand. The Temple of the Reclining Buddha is very fascinating. The splendor of architecture must be delightful to any tourist. Let's have a look around. You can admire the details of Thai design, color, patterns, and shape that are unique, unlike anywhere else. This is because Thailand prioritizes on the conservation of elements that reflects its ancient art and cultural greatness. Now that we've fully admired the beauty of the Temple of the Reclining Buddha, we are starving. Let's go and refill our energy with some delicious Thai dishes. We don't know the area very well, but not to worry, we have an assistant. You can download the Halal Route app. It's packed with essential information for Muslims, such as tourist attraction, religious places, and halal restaurant. Let's try this one, Shabibi House. Let's go.
It's my first time on the tuk-tuk, by the way, and if you're in Thailand, I recommend try getting on one.
Now we have arrived at Shah Bibi House. It's a very cute cafeteria for young Muslims. Let's go inside. Can't wait to try the food. Guys, the food is here and I am so excited. Did you know that each menu is a long traditional family recipe? Appetizers like roti can also serve along seasoned fried chicken and fried beef in fish sauce, and there are so many curries to choose from. There's red and green curry, Penang and Massaman, but the recommended dish here is the Thai Muslim salad, which you have to try. Wow, I really don't know which one to try first. Maybe I'll go with this one. Let's move on to the next location. In addition to seeing beautiful places, we will also get to know Thailand from another perspective as well. So let's go. And this is Museum Siam, a museum-style source of knowledge and entertainment where we will get to experience Thailand from another perspective. Let's go inside and take a look.
This place is also strict about screening, so tourists can rest assured about hygiene and safety wherever they visit. I must say that Museum Siam is a really fun place. There are so many points to capture beautiful photos. I've learned so many interesting facts about the origin of Thailand. It really does fit the concept of play and learn. Come visit. Museum lovers will surely enjoy this place. There are several interactive presentations for people of all ages.
It definitely impressed all visitors, whether you come alone, as a couple, or as a family. And we've been traveling for quite a while now, and I want to do some shopping. Luckily, that's not a problem, because Bangkok is a shopper's paradise. From Museum Siam, we have now arrived at Tha Maharat, where we'll be taking a boat tour to appreciate the beauty of the Chao Phraya River. Next, we will then be going to Bangkok's newest waterfront shopping mall, the Icon Siam.
Wow, we are finally here at the Icon Siam. Let's go inside and see. Icon Siam is the 4th largest shopping mall in Asia.
This is Icon Siam, one of the most popular shopping malls for tourists. Other than being able to enjoy the refreshing atmosphere along Bangkok's landmark, the Chao Phraya River, this place is filled with food from so many different ethnicities and famous brands, so you can shop till you drop.
One of the things that Muslim tourists like us will absolutely love is probably the fashion stores. There are tons of brilliant clothes, accessories, and also some halal certified cosmetic brands sold here. A whole bunch of souvenirs can be found here too. And most importantly, prayer rooms for religious purposes are provided here too. That's everything we need in one place.
How am I going to return home? I've bought so many stuff from almost every single floor of the mall because there's so many things to shop. And I've been to so many places today as well. Let's finish off this tiring day with an excellent halal meal, shall we?
Thailand has a variety of cuisines from street food to international, which you can see that Thailand has a lot to offer. And the last place we are going to visit is one of the special international halal restaurants in Bangkok, where we will meet a young blood celebrity chef there.
now arrived at Fat Lamb. This restaurant is a halal Mediterranean American twist style, and I am so hungry.
Hi, I'm Chef Yakov, the chef and owner of this restaurant. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. The first one is a very Mediterranean style as well. So it's a Turkish salad, which is cucumber, red onions, olives, tomatoes, and feta cheese. The second one is the tenderloin foie gras with demi-glace sauce and salted spinach and roast garlic. The last one is our most best seller in the restaurant. It's a 24-hour sous vide lamb shank, pomme puree, French style, and sauté Ebrahim.
Ooh, everything looks so delicious.
Thank you very much.
I am so full. We have visited so many places throughout the day. I recommend Muslims from all around the world to come and experience it like us. I guarantee it will be a memorable trip second to none. And this is just a small trip in one single day. Thailand has so many other tourist attractions to offer and we need to visit them one day. But for now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wow, Excellency, that was fantastic. I feel like I want to go and visit Thailand for a day as well. But this is interesting in that you have really harnessed the visual aspect of getting the tourists to come across. And I think that that is very key and critical to moving tourism. In 2018, 108 million Muslim tourists went around the world. That figure had grown to 160 million in 2019, which is a phenomenal, huge growth. And it was predicted that by 2023, we'd get up to 230 million tourists. And of course, Spain is trying to get a share of that market. You have a huge and wonderful civilization, the Islamic civilization that existed in Spain. And the situation in Spain is a lot different to here in Southeast Asia, in that you have to compete with the global tourists, and at the same time within a context of bringing the Islamic civilization and attracting the Muslim tourists. So Hanif, how does Spain, and particularly Institute of Halal, position the halal tourism market within Spain?
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Before I go introduce myself, I would like to express my full gratitude for Penang Halal International for this wonderful invitation to come to this beautiful city and participate in this outstanding and consolidated Halal Expo and Conference. I know it's the 11th edition, and unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to come before, but this time I realized how it has been developed and what are they contributing to the local state of Penang. My name is Muhammad Escudero. I'm responsible of the international department of Instituto Halal. Instituto Halal is probably the main halal agency in Spain, certifying food and goods which are adapted to the Muslim community and which are export to several countries. And Instituto Halal has more than 20 years certifying in the markets. Our main activity and dedication during the last 20 years since our foundation has been to promote and standardize a way of life according to our Islamic values. But when we know that halal is for everybody, halal means lawful, means ethical, means healthy, but we know that it is beneficial for everybody, and we have to cooperate and work together with the society to promote a halal standard which is adaptable, which is affordable for everybody, and which is not, how do you say, has to be in cooperation with all the values and with the society. Has to be inclusive. We cannot live and say, no, this is for Muslims, and we cannot talk to the others, and we have to segregate everything. So from this point of view, we understand that halal, there are standards that we have to comply with. So from our activity, we have been dealing with several standards. We know that there is a lack of harmonization in the halal industry, which affects also the halal tourism, because there are different ongoing projects, standards, guidelines on how we have to address the halal tourism markets. What can we certify from restaurants and hotels and Instituto Halal, further to our activity of certification goods and food for the export and to increase the market of the halal Spanish industry. We also has been contributing through our works in trying to standardize, to bring all stakeholders together to participate and cooperate in the development of the halal tourism sector as a whole. Because we cannot do it ourselves. We need the participation and the involvement of all stakeholders, from tour agencies, hotels. We have been organizing several of conferences, webinars, several halal training workshops with hotels, restaurants, 3, 4 stars, 5, with tour operators, travel agencies, in order to show the potential and the opportunities that the halal market is providing, because we know that we have the capability, we have the Islamic civilization, we have the beauties that we can attract Muslim tourists from all over the world, but at the same time, there are challenges. And we have to be able to adopt and implement and be able to satisfy the consumers. Consumer satisfaction is very important in this, and we know that the Muslim travelers are not always the same. They come from different backgrounds, with different expectations, with different requirements on what is halal. So from our point of view, and the way we have been addressing this market is that halal is good for our society, for the development of the market, for good opportunities for the economy of Spain, but we have to work together and we have to invest our resources in developing this market if we want to have success in this project. So this is the position of Spain at the moment, and hopefully that we will continue working together to develop this market.
That's why Mohammed has raised a very important point in his analysis, and that is there's a differentiation between the Muslim tourist and the conventional tourist, and there's a change that has happened in the tourism market itself. At one stage, it was just about bringing a tourist to a beach, leaving them on the beach, 1 or 2 city tours, and that was about it. The Muslim tourist wants to go to the mosque, they want to interact with the local family, they have a different situation and different need. Do you see that as an evolution of the tourism market? And how do you then build a strategy to target that? Because Mohammed says that you have to change and adapt to the consumer demands.
Thank you. The behavior of Muslim travelers, we have to look into different category, because you have those days the baby boomers, and then now you have Gen Z, and then even you have Alpha. They have come up with different behavior, and as I did mention just now that basically they are no different from either they are Muslim travelers or they are non-Muslim travelers. But it depends on where they are from, their upbringing, their education, and then their lifestyle, because this will determine the behavior of these tourists. For instance, I think one of the speakers in the earlier session did mention about the migration of Muslim to different part of the world. At one time, hardly you can see many Muslim in Europe, but now you can see big representation of Muslim population in the UK, in France, and even in Spain, and in Australia, New Zealand. And this gives us a new scenario, how to tackle their needs and preferences for travel. Obviously, being Muslim, they still look for halal food. I mentioned a couple more. But how we address this new development or new trend, we have to look from the marketing perspective. We cannot generalize anymore about them. We have to segmentize. We have to really study their needs. What exactly they want, because they go for modest fashion. Even they go for swimming, they have their own halal outfit, to be certified. And then they go for entertainment. They want to make sure that there is a demand, and they want to be segregated. It was an issue before. If you want to segregate based on our demand, they may have some objection. But now the demand is from them. So we have to respond to them. So this is, and also the design of the program for the tour program or tour itinerary. The tour operators have to respond to them. It cannot be just, okay, this is your customized tour itinerary, take it or leave it. No more. If you do that, they will reject you totally. So this is need we have to harmonize the supply and also the demand. Also the demand and supply of the market. So even in our part, in ITC, what we do, when we study the trend, we conduct seminar and also workshop to inform them there's the new trend, the new behavior, and the industry have to respond. That's one thing. And also the infrastructure, the design of the hotel. Now we need to educate, also to inform the investors. You cannot just build hotel just like another hotel. The demand is there. Instead of doing later, might as well you put it right away at the beginning. There is a demand for prayer hall. It cannot be just be a space or small space, because the demand is very different. So in our case, the industry has to respond accordingly. The tourism board has to respond accordingly, and also the policymakers have to respond accordingly, because this is totally a new environment, and their purchasing power is there, and then they travel solo, and then they use all the gadget. They are technology savvy. They depend on apps. So totally different market segment. So this is how the importance of we have to understand the market, and we have to respond, and also to educate the public and also the service providers. Thank you.
Talks about the Gen Z. Interestingly, that Gen Z and millennials, 40%, 70% of the Muslim population is below the age of 40, and 50% of the population is Gen Zs and millennials. And of course, as you point out, that technology has been harnessed by them. So, the fact that you have the availability of online platforms in which to book the different tours that you want, you can customize the tours the way you want to. The last time I was in Penang, I hired a tour operator who took me on a one-day city tour and stopped at each location that he wanted to take me to. So it was according to his itinerary. And this time that I'm here, it's just grab, 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 and go wherever I want. And it's become an interactive tour because I can go to the Penang street art, I can interact with the street art there. And that is where technology is playing its part. You're booking platforms, and Thailand has launched its own technology app targeted to the Muslim consumer. How do you find the demand then coming from, and how does it create the advantage to be part of a technological environment?
To our experience, having the platform, which is now not only the one that they show that all over. I think all the platform is, for us, is complementary. Is help to facilitate their planning, their decision making, and where to go and everything. As I mentioned earlier, we would like to make everybody who come to visit the country feel more comfortable. So I like just to point out that we will put in the platform also, like you see they went to the temple, and she went to the temple, which is Buddhist. But we don't want to make them uncomfortable, because going to the temple doesn't mean you have to go for a religious purpose. Is there any other aspects of it? For example, the architecture, the fine art, and also in that particular temple, you can learn from the therapeutic massage, which is a traditional wisdom. So we would like to make them, and these are the information you have to put it in the platform also, to make sure that when they go there, they don't feel like they were forced to do something. And as Dato said, now each generation have their own thinking. So how to include them into the tourism, that I think is a big challenge. Thank you.
Mohammed, we're talking about technology, but of course, technology comes with all its distractions as well. People are sitting with their devices whilst they're going through tours. You might be pointing out a particular feature, but the person is busy on their handphone, on their Facebook. But it also has its advantages, because you have the influencer that influences the rest of the tourism industry. And as we've seen in that video, that lady was an influencer of note, who then markets and reaches out to the audience. Is that something that Spain is adapting?
Yes, I think that digital technology is part of our reality. Whether we are in the halal industry or in the halal tourism sector or in the economy. So I think all stakeholders has to take into account that we are in a developing world, that technology is part of our daily life, and we have to implement it. And the success of our projects, our initiative, our companies rely on if we are able to implement these technologies in a good way. So digital technology can enrich and can help, and halal tourism has to adopt these technologies. And in Spain, for sure, I think it can help different aspects of the travel, of the trip, from all the perspective, from the preparation of the after, also can give further information to tour operators, to travel agencies, when they recover all this information and gather and see. So the implementation of IT, of artificial intelligence, IT systems, augmented reality, all this virtual reality can enrich the experience, the tour experience, from the approach to a monument to, for people who cannot maybe travel, they can have at least an approach to this tour experience I was talking before about the Hajj or the Umrah, which are more specific religious trips, but also if you go to Spain to visit the Alhambra Palace or the Great Mosque of Cordoba, it will give you also an opportunity to have a palace built in the 10th century and by Abdurrahman al-Thalith. And when you go there, you will see ruins, but there is a museum, modern museum, contemporary. You go inside and you will see through a video, a recreation of how they were living in this palace in the 10th century. And it's impressive. So we see that technology can help, can be good for the development of the halal tourism. Yesterday I was having dinner and there was a robot or here around. So we see that we are implementing technologies in our daily life, and it will also assist tourist sector from different points of view.
So technology is not just about an instrument, it's become integrated into the experience. You talked about VR and immersive reality. During lockdown, they say that more people traveled during the lockdown than ever before in history to visit places using the virtual world via YouTube or whether it was through the immersive reality. And is that now being adopted? Is that going to be something that, for instance, Malaysia will be taking forward to attract tourists? So you create an artificial world that brings the tourist into the physical world, and then you take the tourists in the physical world and put them back into an artificial world.
The beauty about the travel and tourism and hospitality industry is one industry that is very dynamic, and they're open to any kind of possibilities. If they think that using technology, even now they have no option. I think this really this is a big evidence that took place during the pandemic, where people just cannot travel anywhere. But for a destination, when you do promotion, they just cannot be like another tourist. They have to do their work. So that exactly took place during the 2 years period during the pandemic, where the tourism board using technology to promote, and then that's the best time to instill new value, to create new value. Just imagine, if you go physical promotion, if you are asked for 5 minutes to speak, how much can you speak? How much content that you can deliver? In contrast to visual, people, they have their own time, relax, and that the best time for you to inject a new subject or new content or new areas to be visited, and then that's the best time to explain, to define, because people have time. And after 2 years, even now, when they used to work from home, and now there is a big discussion whether they should go back physically to the office. So this is also a new area, and this is also advantage and opportunity for travel business to interact and also to engage with their potential clients. And I think this trend will go on. I think now people are talking about different kind. I think they're talking about metaverse, something that we have to learn more. So while we want to use the technology, at the same time also it's a process of learning. It's learning to me. I have to learning to the tourism board, and also it's an education to the destination to engage and using the best of the technology. And I think to me this awesome, and then they should be promoted and should be encouraged. And we always encourage the industry to embrace the new technology, because without that, they may just go off the street. So this is the new challenge and the new opportunity that we must go on and embrace. Thank you.
So let us invite the participants who have comments or questions to pose to our panel. Let us invite them to pose their questions or even a comment. To make it interesting, we will be charging 10 ringgit per question and 20 ringgits per answer. So Fazl, I know you want to ask a question, so it will be 10 ringgits that you'll pay for the question, and then when it's answered, there's another 20 ringgit that you pay, right? But it's interesting that we're adapting with technology, and technology is becoming part of the tourism offering. You go to a restaurant today, you scan a QR code, you get the menu, you place the order, it goes to the kitchen, and you don't even have to go and pay the bill. But tourism and hospitality is about the person. Isn't it creating an impersonal experience? Is that not the downward trend of it, or the downside of adapting technology more? Anyway.
Yes, we are talking about the benefits of the digital technology and the systems and all this artificial intelligence implemented in the halal tourism sector. But as you are mentioned, we cannot lose the human treatment. We need this support. When you are traveling, you need these contacts. You want to feel that you are welcome, that you are familiar with. And if you have to talk to a machine and all the I had a bad experience when I arrived here. I lost my credit card, and I was trying to talk to someone, but I was calling a number, and it was an operator, and it was talking in Bahasa, Malay. So I was not able to reach someone. So technology is important, beneficial for all the developments we are trying to do, but at the same time, we have to take careful and see what are the risks, especially in the halal tourism, in which when people are traveling with the families, they want to feel comfortable, they want to feel safe. So when you have people who are trained, educated, and are able, the tour guides, everybody, they will use the technology, but they will be there assisting you and providing all the needs you must find. No? So these both sides are attached to the technology, and we have to look at them if we want to success.
When I go to a restaurant, I like to have someone come up to my table and say, can we bring this for you, or can we bring that for you? Show me the menu, tell me a little about the menu. But having to scan a QR code and send it through, and there's no waiter along, it makes it a bit impersonal. It makes you feel a little less comfortable. Maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned, but it's that. The risk of that technology adaptation as well, does it not pose a risk towards unemployment? Because you then have people becoming redundant.
I think it depends on how we look at the issue. And in tourism industry, or even travel, tourism, and hospitality, we have different categories, for ordinary market and then for the middle class market. And I think you may refer also to the luxury market, where everything has to be personalized. And obviously, no replacement for human senses and human feels, touch, because they're basically tourism industry is all about. But again, in the context of today environment, where we are facing a shortage of workers and also people to serve you as what we used to have in the past, then we have to engage and we have to employ the technology, to deliver. I still remember the other day when I had my lunch in Putrajaya, we did an order all using electronic, you touch all the buttons. And then thinking that the food will be delivered by a person. But obviously, the robot came and said, okay, this is your order, enjoy your meal. So it depends on an individual. If you think that is fine with you, with the price you pay for the service, it's okay. But if you demand, if let's say you go for Michelin category of restaurant with the top chef, and then obviously you want that, that service, the chef to go and say hello to you, which robot obviously can't do that, So it depends on the expectation of the service, and also the expectation of the delivery, and also the brand of the restaurant or the hotel that you are in. So it's quite complex actually, but this is how we have to address one by one, and we need more discussion and more meeting of minds to address the issue. Thank you.
So there's a common theme that puzzle. Yeah, please.
I just want to just give a comment. Of course, when it comes to technology, that perhaps we can also look at it as enabling something like a precursor of the real tourism. Because when you have, these new technologies, like, I know this is still out there, but the metaverse and all this, you can actually make it something like a sneak peek to a destination in a very immersive way before you actually get into there. So this component is still not developed yet because simply we don't have that technology. But it's just like e-commerce, we are socialized. We are accustomed to e-commerce. We get accustomed to buying these things before actually being introduced to that genre of products. So in a way, we can look at technology as a complementary component to tourism, but it cannot replace tourism, as Muhammad is saying. But robots can be friends. We don't have to, we don't have to fight for. We don't have to compete with them. And also, we have to look at technology also. You're right, in terms of mundane tasks. Of course, we should be able to upgrade human beings to more discretionary occupations and leave, the mundane, like cooking your char kway teow to robots. To be honest, I met a char kway teow seller here in Penang. I am so amazed. He told me he bought a robot from China for 10,000 ringgit to help him do his char kway teow. It just blows me away. And so I guess I feel that in the tourism sector, perhaps technology will help us upgrade the role of tourism operators, people in the tourism industry, to do much more meaningful tasks in the sector. What do you think about it?
I agree with that. As I said just now, it depends on the type of services you expected. And while we cannot just have the same number of workers as before, because the challenge is there, and probably this thinking aloud, to have robot for the convention area, because we have to service 300, 400, and just imagine how many hours and how many chefs to be in the kitchen. So this probably some areas. But again, when it comes to personalized for the luxury, where people pay you with, with 1,000 ringgit, say, per meal. I think they might just say, I cannot have robot to serve me. They have to have someone with more, because they have to engage. They want to question what menu is, and what else, being prepared for me. So it depends on the type of business, the type of environment, and also goes back to the psychological requirements of a person, of a client. So this is my response to the question. Thank you.
I think it's absolutely agreeable, Fazal, the concept of human evolution. There is the theory that we would allow technology to take over the mundane tasks and robots to do the things that we want them to do, to the point that as humans, we would return back to the cave, so that we would go back into the village economy. So that is why the whole concept of some countries adopting the village economy, the maker economy, because technology and robots will be doing all the tasks that we normally do, giving us a better quality of life, and allowing us to go back to an agrarian society. So yes, I agree with you, but also I must tell you that you owe me 100 ringgit. Because you asked the question, what do you think? So that was 10 ringgit, right? And then the answer came, which was 20 ringgit. But we also charged 70 ringgit for the comment that you made. I know now as CEO, The common theme and the common concept that has run through our panelists has been about adaptability, to adapt to the market, the understanding of the market, particularly to the Muslim tourism market, the understanding of the demographic of the market, the needs and the demands of the market, by breaking down the segmentation and analyzing each segment to better understand the demands of the various segments, the adaptability of the environment and the country that is trying to enter into that tourism industry, education of not just the industry, but society as a whole, to understand who the Muslim tourist is and the awareness of their needs and requirements. And then about the adaptation of the physical infrastructure as well to cater for that tourism market. And more importantly, which I noticed the common theme or the common concept, is that you have to be quick in response to the market as well. And the adaptation of technology within the service offering that enhances, and the push-pull effect of technology, the use of technology to bring the interest to the consumer and allow the consumer to interact with that technology to draw them to the destination. And Penang has actually done this in a fantastic way with the street art. Because yesterday when I went down into Georgetown and I walked around through that street art, I was able to then scan the QR code that was there to get an in-depth history of that particular installation, what it meant, what its background was, rather than just having to listen or read a little pamphlet and listen to a tour operator tell me a few facts about it. Here I was able to get a more in-depth understanding. So the overall comment, the closing comment would be that this industry and this particular sector of the industry is a huge growth opportunity. And any market that is wanting to grow and leap into the tourism industry needs to harness and get involved in this market, particularly the halal tourism market, and get a better understanding of it in order not just to revive its tourism industry, but also to contribute to economic growth. So with that, I'd like to thank Dato for your participation, Excellency for your participation, and Mohammed for your participation. What I'd like to see at some point is a collaboration between the three markets. So as Excellency pointed out, one trip, three destinations, and maybe we can all travel together. Final note, as a moderator, you have to hold the cough, because in today's day, when you cough, there is problems. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, thank you, our moderator. We thank all of our distinguished speakers and moderator for their insightful views on the topic. We hope you have found the presentation informative, beneficial, and relevant. Once again, thank you to our distinguished guest speakers. Let's give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for their inspiring presentation. So we have come to the end of our program, and before that, we'd like to invite the CEO of Penang Halal International, Mr. Patel.